Well, let's talk now to Marc Ostwald, who's Chief Economist and Global Strategist at ADM Investor Services International. Good to see you again, Marc. Welcome back to the programme. So why is PDD doing so well?
Well, I think they've sort of hit the note of where consumers are in China and indeed elsewhere. Both PDD at home and then Temu abroad. They've basically been offering very steep discounts. They've been competing. They've been taking market share off Shein in China, off Alibaba, to a certain extent off JD.com, and elsewhere. They've made a big splash. So they are really appealing to basically consumers who are feeling the cost of living pinch, and indeed in China the uncertainty about the economic outlook with that steep discounting.
Well, let's talk about those competitors, JD.com and Alibaba among them. What's PDD doing better than them, which sets it apart?
Well, it's certainly spending a lot in terms of sales and marketing, and this is where I think there are potential problems. At the moment, it's willing to sacrifice margin to gain market share. But that's a strategy which can only last for so long, because if you're on wafer-thin margins, eventually the costs mount up. And that's really, that remains to be seen how much further they can make inroads. Internationally, I would imagine there's still plenty of room. At home, probably a lot less. But that is clearly, they're basically operating a price war. And at the end of the day, obviously, there's only so long that the internet companies, so it's not just PDD, but it is also Alibaba and JD.com and Shein, there's only so long you can wage that particular war before it starts to take a toll on profits.
Well, let's talk about Temu, which, as we were saying, is in talks perhaps to do another advert during the Super Bowl break next year. Temu is really PDD's first push outside of China, isn't it? How important has that been?
I think it's been so very significant. If you actually look around, they are. I think for a lot of people internationally, where they have launched, they are seen as a viable competitor to Amazon, and that's saying a lot. I'm not sure how much actual market share they're taking off Amazon, but they're clearly making a big appeal there and using very much the same sort of model. Obviously, they have other aspects. Amazon is a much bigger entity than just its web marketplace. So it is, it is one of these things where you need to go big or go home, and they're definitely going big. The question then is, at what point will all the sales and marketing costs that go with this strategy of massive expansion start to mount up and apply pressure once the novelty to a certain extent wears off?
Marc, good to talk to you. Thanks for joining us as always. That's Marc Ostwald from ADM Investor Services International.